My name is Kylie, and I'm here today to discuss the anti and pro vaccination movement with you guys and hopefully educate you all a little bit more and hope that you guys can make the right choice. So, to start things off, I want to share a quote by the Chief Science Officer at Autism Speaks. Rob Rising says, over the last 2 decades, extensive research has asked whether there is any link between childhood vaccinations and autism. The results of this research are clear. Vaccinations do not cause autism. We urge that all children be fully vaccinated. So, as a future social worker, it's really important to me, and it's kind of a responsibility to be an advocate and a voice for the powerless. So in this situation, the powerless include children who are too young to have the choice to be vaccinated, and it also includes the elderly and people who are sick, who have compromised immune systems and who are unable to be vaccinated. So these people they're relying on us to be vaccinated so that they don't get sick. So to start things off, we have to go back to the beginning of the movement. The movement started when autism rates were starting to rise. And this was causing a lot of families and parents to worry and a lot of concern as to what was causing autism and why these rates were rising. They wanted an answer, and people just wanted any answer. They weren't really positive what was going on. So Andrew Wakefield produced a study that was published in The Lancet in 1998. In his study, he claimed that he had discovered a link between autism and the MMR vaccine. Once the study got published in The Lancet, which is a well-known British medical journal, it quickly found its way over here to the United States. Once it came here, it became a media frenzy. Everybody was talking about it, and it was everywhere. And celebrities such as Jenny McCarthy, who maybe you've heard of, she joined the bandwagon right away. She had a son who had been diagnosed with autism, and like any other parent, she wanted to know why. She wanted to know the cause of his autism. So she joined the bandwagon and used her fame and her popularity to be on the media, to get in front and center and to speak her story, tell everyone about her son, and that she fully believed that vaccinations were the cause of his autism. So a few years later, in 2003, a British investigative journalist, Brian Deer, accused Wakefield of falsifying medical histories of children. He was the first one who kind of stepped up and knew that this wasn't right. According to a CNN interview, of the 12 children who were in the study, 5 of them had developmental problems before the study was even conducted. And 3 of the children were never actually diagnosed with autism like he had proposed. So once that came out, it started a new frenzy. People didn't know what was true and what was false. So Brian Deer stuck with his guns, and he published 36 articles falsifying all of his study pretty much. He discovered that Wakefield was paid $674,000 by lawyers to create this public scare. They wanted pharmaceutical companies to be sued to make them money, so they used Wakefield. Finally, the CDC states that in 2010, the British General Medical Council found Wakefield guilty of professional misconduct, and they retracted his study from The Lancet. And not only did they retract his study, he actually lost his license to practice medicine. So it was a huge thing. He basically was a fraud. He was a fake. And once this came to be known to everybody, people still wanted answers. People still kind of held on to his accusations. And because of this, many families are no longer vaccinating their children because they think it's unsafe for them. So with fewer vaccinations, more and more diseases that we haven't seen in years are slowly making their way back into our communities and our society. The CDC states that in 2000, the United States had eliminated measles, which is a huge accomplishment for us, for our communities, for our children. But now, because of the movement, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention calculated that more cases of the measles were reported in 2008 than any other year since 1997. So instead of progressing and reaching more diseases being eliminated, we're going backwards, and these diseases are coming back to our communities. So the solution to this problem, to the anti- and pro-vaccination movements, is education. We need to educate families more on the truths and not what people think or what people still believe from Andrew Wakefield. According to vaccines.gov, they list 5 reasons to vaccinate. The first one is immunizations can save your child's life. There are a lot of diseases that are harmful to children, and it can result in death. And because of our vaccines, we have been eliminating a lot of those diseases. And secondly, vaccination is very safe and effective. Vaccines have been studied for years and years, way before Andrew Wakefield and his study. And scientists and doctors have found the right way to distribute vaccinations and the right dosages, so they are completely safe to our children. Immunization protects others you care about. Like I said before, it protects the children who aren't old enough for the MMR vaccine. It protects people who are sick and have immune systems that can't handle the vaccines. It protects our elderly, our family members. Vaccines can save your family time and money. If your child's not being vaccinated, chances are they're gonna contract more diseases and more illnesses than other children. So that means parents having to take time off of work. That means maybe hospital bills. A lot of diseases can lead to kids being sick for long periods of time. And vaccinations protects our future generations. What we do now is going to affect our children and their children. So what we do now is extremely important. And so to wrap things up, I want to leave you guys with one more quote from Bob Wright, the co-founder of Autism Speaks, who, ironically, his quote pretty much sums up the importance of my speech all in one. Over the last 2 decades, extensive research has asked whether there is any link between childhood vaccines and autism. Scientific research has not directly linked autism to vaccines. Vaccines are very important. Parents must make the decision whether to vaccinate their children. Efforts must be continually made to educate parents about vaccine safety. If parents decide not to vaccinate, they must be aware of the consequences in their community and their local schools. So I hope that my information and some of my statistics kind of opened your guys' eyes up a little bit, that you have a little more knowledge on the truth about vaccines, and that you guys can make the right choice for our community. Thank you.